What's up, beautiful world? Welcome to another episode of the Black Sheep Perspective. I'm very excited about today's guests, man. I got the ball rolling again with the podcast. Everything's going smooth. By the way, guys, before I get too deep into the podcast and I introduce these two guests, I am looking for an intern. So if you guys have a young person that you know can rock and roll with the internship of the podcast and using podcast equipment, can specify the details some other time, please send me an email, DM me if you follow me on Instagram, and I really much appreciate it. So, two people that I have here today, man. I feel honored. I'm full of joy. I could have picked apart their brain before we started the podcast and found out a bunch of information, but I wanted to hear it live and organically because I really believe they got an awesome story. And this is why I reached out to them, aside from the fact that I'm an actual true fan of both of them, especially with what they're doing now and where they've taken their careers to. I want to introduce, first we have Joey Beltran, who is a veteran in the mixed martial arts world, has fought on all the best and biggest known leagues, including UFC, Bellator, and I'm sure he'll tell me many more. He literally is known by the MMA community. If you've been in the game long enough, you know who Joey Beltran is. He's known for throwing those hands. He's known for having wars. You name it, this guy's it. And then he took his career to bare knuckle fighting championship, which we're going to talk details about that. Became the heavyweight champion and has defended the belt twice. And he's here with bare knuckle fighting what I consider number one contender, who should be next for the title match, Britain Hart, who is also an MMA fighter, who's also had a pro boxing match and has now really zoned into the BKFC career. And they fucking got a love story where they met, and I can't wait to get all the details. But guys, welcome to the show, man. Thank you for coming, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is awesome. We're excited.
Really, really appreciate it. Again, Joey, I've been following you for a long time, my brother. Like, it's impressive that you're still knocking heads off, bro. It's impressive that you can still walk without a limp, man, because you have been in some of the most notable wars that people have remembered you for, man. Tell me what got you into MMA and how did that eventually, we'll get into how you got that turned into BKFC.
Well, gee whiz. So basically, well, the dream started was I was about 5 years old, and my uncle took me to watch WWF at the San Diego Sports Arena, and I'll always remember the main event was Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Andre the Giant.
Man,
I remember like being in the arena, and the crowd was a huge crowd, and I remember looking around and thinking like, man, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do when I grow up. When I grow up, I want to be a fighter. Because back then, I thought wrestling was real.
Of course, yeah.
You know,
some people still do think it is. You just ruined some people's dreams. What's wrong with you?
I know. You know, and so it's like, man, this is what I want to do when I grow up. This is what I want to do when I grow up. And then, so that's where the dream got sparked. And then, let's see.
When did you start what was your first martial art?
Yeah, so I remember I was 10 years old. My mom finally let me go. Like, I wanted to go. If I would beg and cry for like a full year straight for her to let me go to boxing. And then finally, when I turned 10, I guess I was old enough then. when I turned 10, she let me go. And there was a guy who he had some really good fighters, man. He just trained us out of his garage, but it was like a community center. It's called Join Hands Save a Life boxing team.
Nice.
And his name was Frank Sereno.
Was he doing it to help like the community so that kids wouldn't get all in trouble? That's awesome.
I mean, like we would have, like I remember multiple times like walking through, you know, and having like, you know, the homies from the local gang like talk shit and getting street fights on the way to boxing.
Wow. Okay.
You know, so that's kind of how that was.
And this is where in California?
Yeah. This was in Carlsbad, California.
Okay.
And so that's how I started box from I was like 10 till I was like 15 when I was in high school, and then I started wrestling, started playing football. And wrestling, I was really, really good at. Like, football, I was never really good at. Not just because I never really understood the, like, technique.
Right.
Like, in my head, I was like, oh, I'm a big guy. I'm just
crash through. Right.
I didn't understand, like, the footwork.
Rip this, grab that, get under the pads.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I was too hard-headed to, like, really listen and do all, like, the slow-moving drills. Like, you know. But, like, but wrestling, I loved, man. And I flourished. And I always remember, like, it was... One day I was like walking through the locker room, and the wrestling coach, Mark Nelson, he saw me. He's like, "Hey, stud, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know, trying to find my friends." He's like, "Nope, I think you're going to wrestling practice." And I was like,
It's a good coach.
I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I guess I go to wrestling practice. And then I just went and just like, I was like scrapping the first day, and I just fell in love. And I just kept going back.
And see, that's such a beautiful story of like that one person can really make a difference. Like, look how many people.
From the first guy, the community guy.
Yeah.
He was first to have made such a big difference. And
Absolutely.
then if that coach didn't, that coach
Tell
can't
me.
ask you, hey, man, would you be interested in wrestling? No, that shit looks gay, bro. What are they wearing?
I'm not going to wear those tights.
I'm not going to wear that thing. What is that?
I know. It was funny. It was like, well, I would get out there and I would have a moment before every match like, I'm going to get this over as fast as possible and take these tights off.
That's hilarious, man. That's that man's ego going into. Britton, when you got into MMA, did you? Because a lot of females don't pick up wrestling. You don't see a lot. It's building now, especially because of MMA. But females would never go straight into wrestling. They would pick up wrestling once they got into MMA because they knew it had to be. They would probably do jiu-jitsu first, and that's how they'll pick up some of their wrestling skills, and then they'll try to excel more in the wrestling. Did you follow that route, or did you?
So I actually started with boxing as far as like formal training. I started with boxing, so I was a pro boxer first. And then I went to an MMA school, probably like, I think it was like 2018 was when I first started MMA, where boxing was 2016. But in 2018, I started MMA, but I remember it being such a funny thing because it was like, one day was BJJ, and then the next day was striking, and the next day was kickboxing, and then Thursday, and that's why I remember it, Thursday was wrestling. And so we had those different days and different practices, which was like different to me coming from just striking.
Right.
And I would always like do my countdown for Thursday, like wrestling, like all the other days, like the kickboxing day, I dreaded, I hated it, couldn't stand it. BJJ, I really didn't like it.
This is crazy to hear because I thought more people would shy away from wrestling because it's so fucking hard. It's so grueling.
I know.
I loved it. It was the best day of all my I liked it even more than striking, honestly. And like even when Joey, it's funny, it still kind of carries through today where I miss it. I'll like when we go to the boxing gym that has wrestling mats, I'll be like, all right, come on, let's go over here. And he's like, all right, Britton, I'm way bigger. I'm like, I don't care. We could still do it. Because I really genuinely love it. And it's crazy because same thing. I was in a community in a small, like kind of redneck backwoods ass town where people are very small minded. And definitely women were, if you were wrestling, you had to be like a lesbian,
Right.
You weren't the cool kid. So if I could go back, I would absolutely been on the man. And who knows? Like, that's why I'm like with Joey, like, damn, like if I would have wrestled and found that out, I really think that I'm good at it. Like, I really feel like, I think I'm really good and have like a secret talent in it. People wouldn't think that looking at me. But, if I could go back, if I had like someone look at me and say, hey, you need to go to wrestling, I'd be like, no, because I'm cool, I'm not doing that. No, I really think you need to. Let's go. Maybe I would have been sparked to do it. Maybe I would have been, on UFC as well if someone would have saw that and forced me to do it. But if I could go back, that's one of those things, we can't, whatever. But if I had a second chance at life, I would definitely have done high school wrestling.
How many amateur fights? Because every state is different. Like here in Florida, you have to have 5 amateur fights, and they have to go at a certain rate. You can't ground it. You can't head strike to a certain point. You can't ground strike. Everybody's got different rules. I know there's states out there that is fucking, you're full-blown pro, but it's just an amateur fight. They say no elbows, I think. How is it over there in Cali? And yours was in Tampa?
Yeah, but I think, funny, and I don't mean to cut you off, but it's just because it will stem into that. I'm pretty sure that me and Joey are both extreme black sheep. And the fact we don't have amateur experience.
Yeah.
We don't have both of us.
You guys went straight pro.
We both went straight pro, and which is like a no-no, right? It's like a huge no-no, like don't do that. And look at us, we both went pro, no AMI, and I feel like we're like the top, the king and queen. Like
Right. So now that we got to that part, the king and queen part. Okay, so Joey, you go over here, you become the champion, and eventually they wanted to feature you as a commentator. Okay. Yeah. And this is somehow where you guys cross paths. Up until then, you hadn't met her, but you've seen her fight, or it was just completely, she fights her?
So it's funny. We fought on the same show, and BKFC number 2, and she lost to Beck, and I lost to Arnold Adams by the cut stoppage, and so it's like it was not the best of times. And I definitely think we were in the shuttle. Like we were in the shuttle, but I was just like, we both just had that.
Right.
Fuck this look.
Yeah.
Great, but we didn't even know each other, but we still had like the same emotions and the same background. That's funny.
Yeah. Like, but we didn't say a single word to her. And then, so I show up that night for I think it was BKFC 16, and they brought me out to. And funny thing is, I didn't want to go. I really didn't want to go because I was mad because they were supposed to have me come out and to Miami to commentate on the Miami show. And the last second, they're like, "Oh, well, Miami's a limited crowd. We're gonna have to go to good old Mississippi." I'm like, "Fuck!" I was like, "What?" Like, fuck, whatever, man. All right, I guess I'm going to Mississippi. And I show up, and they told us to come like. I don't know why they told us to come like at 5, and the show didn't start till like 7 or whatever. And we show up and boom, and I see my seat, my little name on the seats, and boom, and right next to it on the chair it said Britton Hart. I was like, oh, all right, this is gonna be interesting. And then,
but you already knew who she was at that point.
I knew who she was,
okay.
yeah, but I had never met her.
So then you guys commentated on the same night as well?
Yeah, like talk about like serendipity, like serendipitous moment. He went, so I guess he was mad. And, I mean, you don't really go to fight solo. Like, you usually, go with somebody.
Right.
But
I'm the only guy who does. But
okay, good. Well, that makes me feel better because I'm like that too. But, I always was like, had that deep longing, like that void. Like, I'm like, because I'm different and, one of a kind. But I'll go to a fight and not like, if someone doesn't go with me, I don't really care. So, but he's going to this fight by himself as the champ, which is just crazy. And then I'm going by myself because I actually went on, I had never give two shits. Like, I'm not, unless I have a personal interest, I'm not going to a fight just to watch other fighters. Like, I have to be fighting or coaching or I have to be involved some way.
Okay.
But that was the first time I had like this weird calling, like, no, you need to get your ass there no matter what and make a point, because I was actually mad at Sheena Starr because she was like talking shit behind my back and trying to like take the Paige fight. And so I had basically gone on Twitter and running my mouth. I was like, I'm not someone that's going to, threaten you over phone or over internet. I'm going to show up on your front porch and threaten you to your face. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to Biloxi. So if anybody wants to open their mouth about taking this fight from me, just know that I'm going to be there to stop it. And so because I did that, I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, do you want to commentate? I had no idea I was going to commentate. But I was like, oh, well, I'll just, sure, why not? So then when I went over and saw my seat next to Joey, I was like, I was actually kind of upset because I was like, because I know everybody, and I don't know him. And I was like, why are they going to put me next to the one guy I don't know? He's scary, he's like the big heavyweight champ. And I don't know him. Like, what the hell? I was like, fine, whatever. And when he came over, I was like, hey, again, because it's like that awkwardness. So I was like, you're my date. He's like, you can say it. I'm your date. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I'm like, you're an idiot, Britton. You're so stupid. I was like, just sit down. And I sat down thinking, what am I going to say to this guy? I don't know him. I don't know what he's about. I don't know anything about him. And that's going to look really stupid on my part because I know he's the champ, but that's all. Like, I had no idea Joey was UFC. I had no idea, like, any of that stuff. I just knew he was the champ, and I was like, I kind of was, like, feeling bad at myself. Like, here it is, I'm next to the champ, and I know shit about him. And so he goes, hey, I have a car. Do you want to go get a drink? I was like, yes, I do. And so when we went and did that, we were like, it went from, oh, my God, I don't know this guy. What am I going to say to him? To pouring my whole life story out to him and vice versa. And we were in there and we came back and, I was really nervous about commentating and I shared that with him and he was like, oh, here. So we were sitting ringside in amazing, awesome seats. So shout out to Nate Shook for being the BKFC matchmaker and putting our assigned seats by complete luck and chance, just putting us together. We sat there and watched the fight and laughed the whole time. Like he would like do his little practice mock commentating, which he's hilarious. He's a really funny guy actually. And so he goes from being this scary, I don't know anything about him, to whole life story. I think he's the most funniest, genuine, awesome guy to be around. And we had, seriously, like one of the most magical nights ever. Right. Yeah, we went and danced. We did, we kept it, we're still, we did keep it PG.
Right.
13 maybe.
let me interrupt you real quick. Joey, when you first asked her to get a drink, being a man, Come on, now you guys are past that now. You guys
Yeah.
are fucking a phenomenal couple right now. But at the time, were you not like hitting on her, but were you thinking, you know what, this girl, she's beautiful. Let me test her out. Let me see if she's down to get a drink, or am I passing the line, or I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna pass that line.
Oh no, man. Like,
You were just trying to kind of calm the nerves. Just
No. I was definitely like, in my head, I was like, don't bitch out, don't bitch out, do it.
Okay.
I was like, shoot or shoot, Joey. I was like, all right. Hey, do you want to go get a drink? Yeah. Definitely wanted to meet her and get to know her, see what she's all about.
And then organically it just
And then it was like boom, and then like after the first conversation that we had at that bar, I was like, oh my God, like no joke, I was like, this is the one.
Wow.
That's crazy. I was like, who is this girl?
That's dope, bro. Wow,
Yeah.
man. That's crazy. And let me dig a little bit deeper. Prior to this, had you been a while since you've been in a relationship? Because it's very difficult to be a fighter and have a relationship. It's kind of like, you know, and I've mentioned this in other podcasts, when you're a cop or maybe somebody who's in the medical field who sees a lot of fucked up shit, you get cold, you get moods, you get whatever, and you bring it home. So whoever's on the opposite end of that relationship, they tend to not be able to deal with this. Like, hey, you're still being a cop. You're talking to me authoritatively. You're talking, you know, whatever. Fighters, you know, you can get grumpy, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're hurt, you had a bad day of sparring, whatever it might be. You know, that tends to be difficult to be together. So were you guys in the game, in the fight game, not looking for anybody, not, you know, wasn't thinking about anything, you know, I'm trying to settle down, I'm focused in my career? Or were you guys both actively like, you know, your antennas were up? Like, man, it'd be nice to find somebody and, you know, things of that nature.
Well, no, I mean, me personally, like, I was actually involved in a relationship that was, like, already at the tail end, like, waiting for the right moment to break up kind of deal.
Okay.
And I remember, like after the night, because once again, like, we just fucking hung out, we hit it up, we danced all night, but then at the end of the night, I was like, fuck. In my head, I remember always having that thought, like, very weird, like, if I was like, if I want to have a future with this girl, like, a real chance at a future with this girl, I have to tell her the truth. So I went down and said, I was like, hey, man.
Okay.
I was like,
okay. I like that.
Yeah, there's still this girl at home that, you know, we haven't broken up yet, but we're about to type deal. And she was like very understanding, and then she just, you know, disappeared shortly thereafter. And then, but you know, much to her defense, disappeared and then kind of ghosted me for a little while. So if anything, like, yeah, it was like, you know, she didn't want to be like a Sancha, as they say.
Yeah.
She didn't want to be that. She wasn't, and I didn't want her to be that either. So, yeah, so that's kind of how that went. And then, like, a few months, like, but we still, like, stayed friends, texting wise, stuff like that. But, like, yeah, that's from my deal. And then once I got out of that situation and then moved across the country, like, because I moved from San Diego to Miami, and still kind of was like, she was kind of like, I would text her and she wouldn't answer for like 6-7 days. And I was like, whatever. And in my head, I was like, fuck that Brit and Hart. Whatever. And then, like, when she would text me, I would get like butterflies in myself. Like, oh my gosh, she texts back. Like,
And at this point, you're still living in Tampa.
So I was going through, so to kind of piggyback on his story, you know, I have had, you know, relationships before, and they were really bad. So I don't even know where to start with that, but we won't.
Yeah,
that's
no,
like a
we
whole
don't
nother
gotta
chapter.
say anything, yeah.
But it was super, super bad. So the last relationship I was in actually ended up where he, like, made my mouth split open, broke my nose. I had, like, a lot of, like, really bad. I actually had to go to the ambulance. Like, the ambulance had to come get me and take me to the hospital. It was that bad. He left me in the middle of the road and, like, drove off in my truck and everything. So my viewpoint was, like, fuck relationship, fuck guys, you know, in general. Like, I don't need anybody. I'm an independent girl. I'm good. And I'm not going to mess with anybody because it's not worth it, you know? Unless they're perfect, unless someone's out there to really be able to be there for me, I don't need it and I don't want it. Like, I had no interest. Like, I don't like girls, never have, but it was almost like to the point where I didn't even find, like, guys attractive. Like, I had no missing void.
Yeah, you were
in
left
it.
with a horrible disgust
Yeah.
after everything that happened, of course. Challenging.
I really was. So it wasn't even it wasn't even in my thought, like in my peripheral. Like I'm actually have joked about it with my coach, and I was like, dude, I'm actually happy being like alone for the rest of my life. Like I actually prefer it that way, you know, unless somebody does this. Actually, I said, you know, cooks for me, makes the bed, doesn't care if I have a missing tooth, is in the fight game. Like I listed all these things, and it's like that guy doesn't exist. You know, that guy's not out there, so why am I looking
Pull out that checklist, Joey.
I know. So when I met him, the fact that I thought that he was like attractive too was like, I was like, man, because I haven't like felt like, because like I said, I'm like almost like disgusted in that way with like men in a lot of ways. So, but I mean, friends, homies, yeah, but on like a relationship. Like if you're my friend, yeah, what's up? But if you're like, hey girl, I'm like, don't touch me. You know what I mean? So I had that like whole thing that I was kind of like going through. Well, anyways, when he told me he had a girl, like I was like, oh my God, I actually like a guy. Like I'm having fun and not repulsed by him. Think he's awesome. I would like say things and be like, oh, I said too much. And then he would just bounce back with something. I'd be like, oh wow, like it was so great. So when he told me he had a girlfriend, I was like,
You see, Britt, you should have never fucking opened up. God damn it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, whatever, you know, good for him though. And he did. And after I did ghost him, I was like, yeah, I gotta go. I'll be right back. But I never came back. And he was like, the next day he's like, do you need a ride? And I was like, oh. Because I'm used to people, if you don't give them what they want, they cut you, like, they're gone, you know? So the fact that he did, at least he was truthful about it. And I, you know, sure it was hard. I was like, well, I do respect him in that way. I don't want anything to do with him on a romantic level, but I respect him. Then when he asked me, after I ghosted him and left, he asked if I wanted to ride back. I was like, yeah, you know what? I do want to ride back. And I took it, and then we stayed really good friends, even though, you know, so to answer your question, getting off topic, go back to that. So I'm like in this whole state of confusion. Like, where do I need to belong? Like, I'm a Rolling Stone. Like, I was in Virginia. I had some tragic, horrible shit happen to me in 2016. I rented out my house and been basically living out of my car since then. You know, I'll go and stay in motels for a couple weeks, stay with friends for a couple weeks. I'll be in California for a couple weeks. I'll be in, you know, in Florida for a couple months. I'll be in Philly. I was in Philly for 4 months. I was like desperately trying to find like a home and where I'm supposed to go. I wasn't worried about relationship. I just need to find a home like where I can be good. And you know, I'm trying to figure that out mostly. And then so everything is going good. And then Joey, you know, we're still friends and still everything. And then it was going into that. Well, no, I think it's because he came out to California when I went back to California because I wanted to move there. And I knew he was out there. So when I saw he moved to Miami, I was like, wait a minute. I thought, because I'm planning to move out to California, and then he's moving to Miami, which I know he's getting out of this relationship with this, you know, other girl, whatever. And I'm like, oh, he's serious. Like, he really is not just saying that, like, trying to have his cake and eat it too kind of guy.
Why were you choosing Miami? Sorry to interrupt you, Britt. Why were you choosing Miami? Was there a reason, a connection? Or
It was just by chance. My coach at the time came out here to open up a gym with one of his old friends from Las Vegas, and so Mateo, who's the owner of Box Store Studios in Miami.
Okay.
And so then my coach Jason Ingwaldson, and those two guys were friends from boxing back in the day, and so we met up, and we were training a couple times. He told me about the opportunity. He's like, you should come out here and do training camp, or at least part of it. So when I originally first came out here, it was only supposed to be for like 4 or 5 weeks.
But I remember when you came because you reached out to Yuli and said, hey, man, I'll meet you at your jungle gym.
Yeah.
You know, get some training in. And I saw you reaching out to a couple people that I was buddies with. I'm like, okay, Joey's going to be in town.
Yeah. So that's how it was, just because of that. And then timing and everything. I was like, yeah, it's time for me to get out of California for a little while.
And then Britt started stalking you.
I know. I was like, wait.
Yeah.
And then that was weird because I don't do, you know, like Joey was saying, I don't, first off, I don't text anyways. But if I do text back, it does take like days for me to do it. Like that's just actually normal of me. Like, so it wasn't that I didn't like him. That's just like all my friends can testify. I'm terrible at responding. But when I start, I'm like, whoa, you're in Miami now? And he was like, I know he could sense it, but it was weird that I felt like we were in tune about that. So when I was in California, because I was actually really gung-ho, I had a job lined up, I had a house lined up over there. I was really gung-ho about moving over there. And he came out and visited me when I was out there after the Paige fight. And for me, that was my, like, everything else was magic. It was exactly like that. Like, most magical. If you could see it in a movie, when the night we commentated, it was like the perfect best night, like one of those sad love stories where you see and they leave at the end of the night and the guy doesn't know her number or something and he's like, well, who is this girl? It was like that feeling, like, who is this guy? But we had a part anyways.
Instead of the slipper, she dropped a wrestling shoe.
Yeah.
And you grabbed it.
It was like that, man. I'm telling you, it absolutely was. I will never forget, like, some of those moments. They're burned in my mind forever. But when he came out to California, it was actually still also ironically burned in my mind. We went and walked to the beach, and there was some horrible comedy act going on with, like, these random people just set up in the middle of the palm trees saying some. And it was actually pretty, like, crude and raunchy, but whatever. It was what it was. And we were just sitting there, so it's not really romantic, you know, but to me, and he had to go. He had to catch his flight. So we were only hanging out for like 2 hours. And I was like, I hugged him, but we had hugged before, but this was like a different hug. So like, this is like testimony to the power of a hug. And for that brief second, I was like, I'm just going to let down all my walls and like thinking, and I'm just gonna embrace it for what it was. And it was in that hug, I was like, whoa, it was like this weird, like, I belong, I'm safe, like, I feel good, like, this is like it was just a weird feeling, man, it was. And Joey can tell you, from that day on, it was from that hug, that moment on, it was like his texts would go not unanswered. We called, we talked on the phone, we were totally in tune. He got me tickets to come down to Biloxi for his fight with Dave Diaz.
For David Diaz. I was cornering David Diaz, yeah.
Yeah. And we went down, and he scheduled that just a one-way ticket, not a any-way back. And I was like, oh, see how
good move, bro.
Yeah.
For those of you guys listening, jot down notes. That's how you do it.
And I'm telling you, we haven't, not only had, that was like March 17th.
Yeah.
So not only are we together and married, but we have not spent like maybe 2 or 3 hours apart tops since that day. And it's just been
pretty wild.
Yeah, it's been that way ever since, and it's real. And it's like every day, like when we hug, it's that same feeling, like I just belong here and this is what we do. And I feel like you're right, like to sit with a common ground, but it's like the right common ground. Like you can be a fighter and how many fighters we've met. You can have fighters, and just because they're fighters doesn't make them the same type of person.
Yeah.
There's definitely different types. But the fact that we love it, we both love food, we love both going out, we love all the same things, but we're really like the things that one lacks, the other picks up. And it was like another stupid thing, like Landmark. I was talking to him one day, and he said, I can't remember if he said it or I said it, that we did Landmark. And I was like, shut up. Like, nobody even knows what Landmark is. But the fact that he went through it and did it is like, and I used to joke about that. I said, I would never be with anyone unless they do Landmark.
I don't know what it is neither, but I do want to find out.
Yeah.
What is Landmark? What's going on, beautiful world? We are officially in season 3, and we could not have gotten here if it wasn't for all you crazy motherfuckers. Thank you so much for all the support, man. I really do appreciate it. Our subscribers are up to almost 1,300. That's huge for me. We haven't even been around that long, and I feel like we're making leaps and bounds. Thank you guys for listening, for tuning in, for showing your support. Stay tuned. There's so much more to come, from merch to crazy other guests that you wouldn't expect would be on here, and just a whole lot more. Appreciate all the support, guys. Enjoy the podcast. So let's fast forward a little bit. So you guys, speaking of fast forward, you guys fast forwarded, okay? And me personally, and I know this could definitely be looked down upon, and I can see people's argument towards it. You know, you should take things slow, blah, 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 blah. I get it. But you've been in multiple relationships, and you ain't no fucking young chicken. You know, you're an adult. You're 31. You've been in multiple relationships, and you're a little bit older of a young chicken. You're 39. So if you guys already know what you want, I'm somebody who supports it, because, of course, I'm going to be biased. If I was in your shoes, I would have been like, hey, we might as well just get this shit over with right now. Either we're going to sink or swim. But let's just find out. Fuck all this long distance, forever texting, expensive flights to go see each other. No, just come over here. Let's do this living thing. And if you're digging in and we're filling in, and you know, let's go into the next one. So how long was it from she finally came? You convinced. Well, first you almost kidnapped her.
Yeah.
Okay, with the one-way ticket, which was gangster ass move. How much longer after that did everything else become that you guys got married?
Man, I mean, so we went to a couple of places. We went to Mississippi. We bounced to South Carolina, and then we came to Miami, right? Yeah. And so, like, once we got to Miami, maybe it was, like, March 20th or whatever, March something. Right around the end of March, basically. And then, so, it was kind of like, even back then, I was like, well, I don't really, I was like, so, do you have to, like, be back anywhere? And she's like, no, I'm not really committed to anywhere. And I'm like, all right. Crazy. I was like, all right, cool. And then, like, she just basically came and was, like, stayed in my apartment. But the funny thing is, like, I was like, I don't really have a room where I stay. I kind of just, like, sleep on the floor on a mattress. And she's like, all right, cool. And so, like, for, like, the first, like, 2 months, like, we fell in love on that little floor.
Wow.
because my coach had the room. We had my coach and I shared this 1-bedroom apartment, but he had the bedroom. And then I had my little mattress set up in the living room. And that was that, man. So Britton came, and like we would like sleep on the floor and go eat food and train and wake up and teach our 7 a.m. classes, and we just like we were just together.
Have you guys hit each other in bed by accident yet?
No.
Are you?
I feel
you
like
guys
you
don't
told me
twitch
I
in
did
bed?
once.
Yeah.
I think
maybe
time.
Maybe an elbow.
No, we're actually, again, this is crazy because, like, with my kids, like, I have 2 kids. I love them to death, Peyton and Paris. But when they sleep with me, I'm like, I'm hot, I'm sweating. I'm like, get off me. It messes my mojo up. But, like, that was another thing with me and Joey, like, not being weird. But it's like, I always just say, like, the best way is, like a little otter cuddle pile. Like, we could be sleeping on each other, like, all weird ways and just be, like out. Like, especially when we were first together. Now we're like, we watch movies. We did the struggle together, which is really cool, being that we're both established and successful. We were like he said, staying on a mattress. We didn't have a TV. We didn't have anything. We literally trained all day, went and laid on that mattress at night and fell asleep like instantly.
So
no TV,
we spoke about that off camera. I think when we were first preparing, you know, you had mentioned how you guys had caught COVID before one of your big fights. And that it fucking put you guys both on your asses for 2 weeks and everything. And anyhow, I don't know how many people know that. That's amazing. I can't believe, you know, you pulled that off and still fought freshly off of COVID. But when you struggle with somebody, when you go through low moments, you know, tough moments, emotional moments, crying, we survived this, we almost got killed, we almost died, things of that nature. It's like you had mentioned in Britain, that camaraderie that soldiers share, that team players share, you know, and they might not like each other that much, but man, we went through a fucking lot together, and you will always have that bond. And it seems like you guys shared that right off top, amplified it with the little apartment struggle, and then quadrupled it and doubled down with the COVID thing, you know. And then you guys share a real dope energy, man. You know, it's one of those things that you don't hear much. You know, you kind of like storybook, really, but just on a fight tip, maybe. You know,
right? That's probably why he wanted to marry me too. I mean, you gotta think COVID is like something like not just our country, but the whole world is shut down and changing.
Right.
And to go through that, like that was, and him still fight. It was like a really, I didn't even tell him because it was like, I don't want to bring shed light to it. But for me, I was like, dude, if I had my title fight going on right now and I caught COVID, I'd be freaking out. I'd be so upset. I'd be distraught. But it was kind of like just trying to distract that and still work together. But we didn't want to get anyone else sick. Mm-hmm. So we had a quarantine together. So he couldn't go to the gym. He couldn't spar. He couldn't get mitt work or pad work from his coach. So I had to be the one to do it. And you know what? It was like from being sick and miserable and wanting to die, not being able to taste or smell anything, we did it. And we did it well. Like as miserable as it sounds, and it was, I'm telling you, 104 fever, literally 104 fever, night, just the whole shebang. But some of the best moments, just being able to be cuddled and be with him and not anybody else. It was kind of like that, and the fact that we could do that, my coach from back home jokes all the time that if Joey can take me talking for more than a month, that it's a lifetime thing.
Damn, that coach knows you, huh? Let me ask you, what were people, your loved ones, like everybody's got an opinion. You guys got somebody who's in your small circle of love that, you know, hey, what the fuck are you thinking, bro? Hey, Britain, what's wrong with you, chick? Like, what are you doing getting married so fast? Like, were people against it? Or were they like, dude, that's dope. Rock with it. Go with it.
I think we were both we didn't really care because, like, really at the end of the day, we're grown-ups and old, and it's like, fuck that, we know what we're doing. But I think maybe there was a sense, both of us, in the back of our head, like, people are going to say shit, whatever. But I think I'm kind of surprised the love and amount of people that have supported it, like, from his family and my family. I haven't heard, I can't even tell you one person.
You know what's crazy, and I don't expect you to remember it because you have a great following. Both of you guys got like 20-some thousand followers, and you were getting smoking hot from the Paige VanZant fight, which I do want to bring that back up as well. But I had sent you a message, but I did it on the post, not DM, and I put, because you had just started posting pictures of you guys dating. There was no marriage yet. And I said, man, y'all look something like, yo, you guys look mad cute. A couple goals, hashtag couple goals and whatever. It was like one of your first pictures of you guys kicking it together. And I really meant that. And then you posted something maybe 3 weeks later, a month later. I don't think you got married yet, as quick as that is. But on your storyline. And then I put a message on that one. I said, hey, man, I really do think you guys are awesome. And that's fucking dope. And congrats. You guys look crazy happy and whatever. And I meant it. I definitely meant it. I mentioned it earlier about having common grounds. To have those common grounds of fighting, struggles, willingness to sacrifice, things of that nature. And then to test each other so quick with, such crazy decisions one can say, and in such circumstances one can say, and then to make it this far, shit, man, you guys are already leaps and bounds in front of people who've been married 20 years who still haven't, faced certain challenges. So I definitely think it's awesome. But you haven't seen her fight yet since you've been with her. No, you did. Yeah, you did. That's right. The last girl you fought. That's true.
Yeah, and that was crazy. So yeah, it kind of goes in what you were saying earlier, like being a team, and like me and Joey really have that, because not only is now my husband, and we've gone through, he's seen everything. He knows every single, like, seriously, and then very few people know everything about me. And if they do, they might not really like me or want to put up with me, But Joey knows everything about me, and still, and this is what we joke about, it's not a matter about loving someone, it's liking someone. He's still, because you know how it is. We love someone, but we might not like them.
Right. Enjoying somebody is different than you just love them.
Well, we do love each other, but we like each other.
Right.
Like, we really believe and like being around each other. So for him, I kind of was like, I don't know what to do. Like, that's going to be like him coaching me is going to be the right decision. But, and it really wasn't because of him. It was just because he's a fighter. And to me, it's like, you have to be 100% committed. And nothing against him, but if he's fighting, he can't be 100% committed to me. It would be, he has to be committed to himself as a fighter.
On the same card, you mean? On the same
night?
Yeah.
Well, that's how it started.
That one I can agree on, even though some fighters have pulled it off if you're far enough from each other. But you guys are what am I trying to say? The main event. You guys are a fight away from each other. That's different. But I do want to ask, how was the emotions? Because now now you're in love. You're freshly in love. Whether you were married yet, I don't know. And then now Joey goes to defend his belt. Was it different? Were you like, holy shit, I didn't know I can get this riled up because it's him? Or was you still, because you're a fighter and you're a gutsy chick, where you're like, my man's about to go whoop that ass, and you really weren't nervous?
So I'm usually always like that, because I'm like kind of like I have an antagonizing kind of personality. Like, I'm the one that's like, yeah, go get him, fight. That's just me in general. But for him and his fight, I'm telling you, I actually had to ask my manager at the time to help me down, because I was like, I need you to help me, because I was shaking. And I was like, I can't walk down. I'm going to trip and fall in front of everybody right now if I don't have someone to help me down these stairs. That's how bad it was.
What about yours, Joey?
I couldn't believe it.
Oh, yeah. I was like freaking out in the back for a little bit, like to the point where I was like, man, my chest started hurting. I was like, dude, I had to go outside. I had to go outside and pray. Like, I had to go outside, get on my knees and fucking pray. And like, dude, like, I can't do this on my own. I need your help. I really need your help right now. And then I was able to like get it together, go in and fucking get my job done as a coach. And but definitely for sure, like, it was nerve wracking in the beginning.
Britt, you have this epic. First of all, your fame took a big jump when Paige VanZant, famous girl from UFC, little pretty girl. She, I think she's a really good fighter, especially in MMA. But she's had her falls, and she went to BKFC, and she wants to bang, and you called her out. I thought it was epic after you whooped that girl's ass. You called her out right there in the middle of the ring, and so on and so forth. Eventually, you're her first fight. Dope-ass fight. I believe it was Fight of the Night, right? Was it Fight of the Night?
I don't remember.
No, it wasn't actually.
It was 5 rounds. It was fucking great.
Yeah. You know what? It was Taylor and that Trista girl that got Fight of the Night.
Oh, they must have just etched you out because they had, they were.
Because it was so bloody.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because they were way more gory. Okay, well, anyhow, amazing fight. You beat her, skyrocketing, so on and so forth. Now you have this second fight, the girl you just beat. When you beat her, I told you the story that I was showing one of my clients, the video. When you beat her and it's all over and you're walking away from her and your mouth was bleeding and you dug into your mouth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the clip on the video of once we post it on YouTube. But I don't know how you did it. Did you practice this? Does this come out like it's very savage. You put your fingers and got blood on your fingers on purpose, and then you pulled it across your lips to kind of give yourself the bloody smile look that the Joker has.
Right.
And did a good job at it. And you look pretty fucking crazy. What's all that about, man?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. When I saw that clip, when BKFC put it up, it was literally the first time I've ever saw it. Like
you forgot you did it?
I didn't even know I did
Get
it.
the fuck out of here.
Swear. Like, you can ask Joe. I watched it all day. I was like, I was running around the house all day, like putting the clip in his face, being like, do you see that I did this? Like, who the fuck am I?
That's crazy. You really did not remember it.
Do not remember.
That's the endorphins just crashing and you're just naturally doing you, but you don't remember it. That's wild.
Like, you can watch that video, and like when people go and watch the clip, like it's so crazy because you can tell, like when I get the blood and do the smile, I'm not happy. Like you can see the pain in my face. Like I'm just like, I'm telling you, these 2 teeth were out of my mouth completely.
That was after the Paige fight. It was after the Paige fight, and BKFC ran it as a promo for the Jenny Savage fight.
Yeah.
But it was actually the Paige. It was actually the Paige fight. So Britain had her bottom 4 teeth pushed in, cracked, and so when she did the smiley face, because she literally her
But I was like in agonizing pain. Like, and I know people joke about it and we can joke about it and whatever, but like the whole I'm feeling speech and when I was screaming, like when I was like, I literally did that because it was like either that or bawl down, cry, and like fall to the floor with like extreme pain. Like it was painful. And so for me, like when we get our endorphins, when you scream, when you see people do that, it literally is like so weird, but it does. It like makes you fill up with endorphins that the pain goes away. So I can like subside it and be happy, which I was legitly happy for my victory. But even when I remember leaving that and like going and taking pictures with the fans, I'd be like, and then I'd be like, oh my God, I just can't wait for this to be over.
I can only imagine.
It was like going back from, like, not that I was being fake, but hey, yeah, I want to, oh my God, I want to get out of here. Oh, I hate it. Oh my God, I'm in so much pain, like falling. It was excruciating. Even the doctor was like, he'll tell you for the rest of our lives. We had a moment, like when he looked at me, he's like, I gotta push your teeth back in or they're gonna, like die and you're not gonna have the chance of keeping them. And I was like, just do it. And he was like, all right, this is gonna hurt. And I'm like, and so I hold on to his shoulders and he takes it and shoves all 4 of my teeth back in. I'm telling you, it was like the pain like that we shared and that experience was 100% real. I'll never forget it. Never.
Do you remember the exact punch that Paige hit you with that did it?
Yeah, I do actually, because nothing, and that's kind of like how stupid and crazy my speech was with it, where I was like, oh, no one's ever hit me as hard. Obviously, I was like in endorphins and doing the fight. But there's a little bit of truth to it because it's like, nothing that she ever hit me with or anyone hits me with hurts. Like, I'm never like, oh, man, that's a good one. That got me. But with her punch, when she punched me and my mouthpiece came out, I remember literally thinking in my head, oh, shit, she just broke. Like, I literally felt my teeth crunch, like, and I was like, fuck, she just broke my teeth. So the fact that I felt that and like knew that, and I was just like, you can even see there's a clip, and as soon as she punches me, and it's a jab, it's a hard, stiff jab that she steps in with. So shout out to the power of a jab,
right?
And it was just so stiff, it caught me in my mouth that when my mouthpiece came out, I felt my teeth simultaneously break. I just pushed it back in and was like, fuck. And then just was like, and kept going. But in that moment, it was like slow motion. Like I remember it coming out and me being like,
that shit hurts just thinking about it. Joey, you've been in so many wars. Give me a memorable one where you really felt some injury or pain that you had. I mean, bleeding was normal for you, but what's something that you remember that was, holy shit, man, that one punch, that kick, that knockout? I don't know.
It's funny, like the few times that I've been knocked out, like you don't really feel those.
Right,
like,
right.
You just get boom, boom, like, and then you wake up and the doctor's around you, and I'm like, oh fuck, I know what that means. Damn it. But somebody that like were like hurt. I wouldn't say that it would have hurt, but it was like the first time I ever had that.
shit.
Experience. Like I remember me and Mattress, we got fight of the night way back when, and it was crazy brawl, and I fucked him up the first round.
UFC or Bellator?
And UFC, and then I went after him the second round. Boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get him, and he was southpaw, and he like stepped back and boom, he cracked me with the left, and I remember he hit me, and it was like a like no joke, like a fucking like an 18-wheeler honked its horn in my ear, and I was like, oh shit, like oh, and then boom, and everything came back. Yeah. It was like went wah, and came back like within like 20 seconds. Wow. Oh man, like I was like, oh shit.
Have you sustained any injuries that knocked you off track for like a couple months, like torn ACLs or anything of that nature?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is that I actually tore both my ACLs in high school, and then my right one, I tore my senior year, which totally derailed all my college plans and everything, going to wrestling in school and stuff. And I never was able to get that fixed. My mom had a good job when I did my first one. And then the second one, my mom had lost her job, so I never got it fixed. And so I did UFC, did Bellator, did all that stuff with no ACL holding my knee together.
Damn.
But anyway, as far as like injuries, like Tony Lopez broke my arm in the first time we fought together. Yeah, he caught me in a standing Kimura, and I remember like,
oh wow,
yeah, and I remember like I was like running around in a circle, like we were. Like,
because you're not on the ground.
Yeah, because I was defending the shoulder, and then it gave way at my elbow, and my hand just went whoop, and just flipped up like that from here. Whoop. And so that took me on for like 9 months, and then I got my jaw broke, fighting for Bellator's light heavyweight title, and that one sucked. And the funny story about that is that like. When was it? So I remember I got clipped or whatever, and I remember waking up. I came to and the doctors were in front of me, and I got all upset. And then I went and stood up, got my wits together. I remember standing up while they announced him as a winner, and I walked out like, fuck this, let's get out of here. And then next thing I remember, no joke, is being like in the lobby of the hotel, like trying to eat French fries. And like I couldn't eat, obviously, because my jaw was broken. And I remember asked my coach, my homie, I was like, "Hey, dude, why the fuck didn't I go to the hospital?" He's all, "Oh, they tried to get you to go, and you went ballistic and started throwing shit because you didn't want to go to the hospital."
So you don't even remember that part?
I don't remember that part.
So you still weren't acknowledging that you had a broken jaw?
Correct.
That had to be wired or whatever.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So then it gets even better, like because. So then we fly back from Detroit to California. We fly back, and then my guy Brandon just drops me off at the hospital, and I go straight in. And then like they saw me, they examined me, they gave me a bunch of pain meds and stuff like that. And the doctor came in. He's like, "Okay, so you have a broken jaw." He's all, "So you definitely, you wanna go on a strict liquid diet and really refrain from any activities where you move your jaw." And I was like, "All right." And he starts writing all the paperwork. And in my head, I was like, aren't I supposed to get this wired or something? Like,
right.
All right, whatever. Boom. Got in the car, went home. And then the next day, I woke up, and it was seriously, like, no joke, like protruding like 4 inches. Like,
jeez.
It got hit. So what had happened is the tooth in the back of my mouth, on this side, the tooth in the back of my mouth were both of them were cracked, the top and the bottom molars, and so those had gotten infected, and like that was a huge infection in my face.
But how come he didn't?
And
How come you didn't have
I
to
don't
wire
know,
you? You
because
still
he
don't
was
know?
a fucking idiot.
Wow.
And so I went back to it, and then my manager sent me to this other like legit doctor, and like and then they pulled the teeth out and they put me like temporary or what is it, local anesthesia. I didn't go out. They didn't put me out, and then they wired my stuff shut.
How long were you wired for?
9 weeks. It would have only been 6, but this was back when I was still drinking, and I went out to Las Vegas with Monster Energy for the
BMX or
Supercross or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And like
Monster Cup.
the Monster Cup. Yeah. I remember I was like drinking, and by the end of the night, I was like, "Fuck that!" I took all the rubber bands off my wire and started eating chicken wings. And like, I don't.
Savage.
I was like, I don't give a fuck. Fuck this shit.
And then it didn't affect you, though.
No. And then I went back to the doctor on Monday. They're like, what the hell happened? And I was like, one of my clients that I personally trained hit me in the face accidentally with a medicine ball. I missed the ball, and they're like, really? Well, I mean, you're gonna be in the wires for at least another 3 to 4 weeks. I was like, fuck. So yeah, it ended up being 9 weeks total.
And Brady, what's your worst? Was that your worst injury? Having your teeth put through like that?
I will say, yeah. I mean, I've been definitely through a lot in my life, but it was funny when I started fighting and people were like, oh, like people say that all the time to girls. They're like, oh, you don't want to mess your face up. But it's like, I always used to joke and was like, as long as I don't get my nose broken, I'm fine. And then here it is, my nose has been broken like 4 times. So once my nose broke the first time, I was like, oh, it's not that bad. And so I kind of got okay with it.
Your nose is, they aligned it.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You can't tell
it's to the point now where I can go. Last time I went to the doctors for something else, and they're like, yeah, you got this, and your nose is broken. I was like, really? I don't even feel it anymore. But so that's happened. And then the stitches, I've gotten like 7 face stitches so far. The worst one being in my eye. I definitely did not like that. It's literally like right next to my lower lash line. So that was like the worst as far as sitting there. But pain, and I've broken my hand, and same thing, funny story like with Joey, like I broke my hand. I went to the doctor and they casted it, and I needed to work. So I went to my job. I was a waitress, and they're like, oh, you can't wait tables with your hand casted. And I'm like, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. And they're like, no, you got to hostess. I'm like, I'm not hostessing, because hostess is like, half the pay and stand up there and like, whatever. I was like, I'm not hostessing for $8 an hour. I'm going to go wait tables. And I would carry the tray and be like, damn it. And then I went back to the back, and literally it was like the very next day. I had only had that cast on for 1 day. I went to the back and I took one of our big industries scissors, and I cut it off. And they're like, what are you doing? I was like, fuck it, I don't care, I don't need it. And I went out there and I served, and I started doing everything with my broken hand. And I was like that for a really long time, like super, like it's funny because I don't realize it now, but when I look at pictures, like I'm like, dang, I have like a mutilated right hand because I didn't take care of it the right way. But the teeth thing, with Beck, I had push, like, and if you look at pictures before my fight, I joke about it too. So it's like it's a crazy good thing, because my teeth are kind of crooked, like my lower teeth. And I mean, who cares? And no one really cares. I could care less. But
same here.
Yeah, but they were. So when she hit me, my teeth knocked back to where when I got out, they weren't completely out of my mouth. They were just angled backwards. And I was like, fuck this. I'm going to do it while my endorphins are high. And I took my teeth and shoved them in the front myself. And I did it, and it worked. And then I went, after the fight, I went to a dentist, and they were like, well, and they wired it in the back. So when they wired it in the back, you couldn't tell, but lo and behold, here it is. I have perfect straight lower teeth. I was like, yo, my teeth are way better now than before I got them knocked out. So I was like always super happy about it, that I had perfect teeth, because they had that wire in the back holding them in perfect place. So then when I fought Paige and I got hit with that one punch that we were talking about, I felt them immediately go out of my mouth. And I was like, oh, no. And it was like that wire that I'm telling you that's in the back. Mm-hmm. That wire, it's anchored to the rest of my teeth to keep the 4 teeth in place, but it's anchored to other teeth. So when those 2 teeth got knocked out, they're just floating around on that wire because that wire is anchored to my other teeth. So, like, you could see pieces of the wire still glued in the back of my mouth. So I'm, like, trying to spit my teeth out, and I can't. They're just, like, floating there. But the top one got fractured up at the top, and it was. Same thing, like, with Joey. Like, they told me if I didn't get it pulled, that I would wake up one day and my mouth would be, like, swollen out to here due to infection. So I just had to go in and have it pulled, and this tooth came out in 2 pieces. So they came out with the tooth, and then the root was literally severed in half. And that, I'm telling you, yeah, I would take anything. I'd take stitches, broken nose, everything over having teeth problems.
What's going on, beautiful world? Thank you once again for tuning in. I just wanted to cut in really quick and tell you guys, man, I really appreciate all the love and support. This is season 3. We're several podcasts in. We got so many more coming. There's a lot of things that's coming that's brand new, from the Go Ahead and Ask vlog series to a bunch of merchandise and to even a new podcast series that's coming out in the future. Look out for it in the summer. But for now, guys, we couldn't have even made it this far if it wasn't for all of you guys. Thank you for the love and support. Appreciate it. Let's get back to it. Let's switch the topic to something cuter than teeth getting punched in and fucking gory scars and all that. I don't even know how many people listening have already cringed and might have even turned us off, because that's just, it's a tough life, and I know you guys experience that a whole lot. I want to know, and so do a lot of people, and I know there's a TikTok thing going on, and there's multiple different questionnaires going on for couples, and it's great to see these couples to see how well they think they know each other. Most of them do they answer these questions blinded. You guys don't got to be blinded, obviously, but just don't let, when you call each other out, throw you two off, and just be ready for the next questions. I know you guys told me you did something like this once, so want to have some fun with it, and let's just see where you guys are at. And these are good questions. They're nothing crazy, but then once they're done, I want to have some more personal questions in regards to being a fighter and things of that nature. Okay, all right. So here we go. You guys have been married how long now? 3 months?
2.
2 months. Woo. Okay. Who initiated the first kiss? My boy. I love it. Who apologizes first after a fight? Damn, my boy's gonna get points on this one. Who is the funny one? Okay, that's a toss-up. Who's more romantic? Okay, that's nice. Who is the most patient? Britt, you got some work, girl. What's going on here?
It's amazing.
Who is the better cook?
Ooh, I used to think it was me, but she's been killing it lately.
Okay. Finally, Britt got one. Who said I love you first? Oh, it's interesting that you guys don't know that right away. Okay, that's cool.
I think it was him. It was like it was after my feeling speech, and I'm pretty sure he was like, dude, I know what you meant, and I think that's when he first, we said love ya, love you, but
that true? Yeah,
I love you.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. Okay, who takes longer to get ready in the morning? Women. Who is grumpier in the morning? Women. You're winning now. Who is more stubborn? Britt. Guys, get to know Britt, man. Who is the bigger baby when you're sick? Now, it's a tough one there. You guys are kind of toughing it out on your own.
I don't know.
You haven't been sick since, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a tough one.
I know. We're both pretty good as far as
just trying to tough it out and not be a little
yeah.
wham. Yeah, you guys are both as tough as it comes, so I think that was definitely even Steven. Who is the social butterfly?
Women.
But are you pretty good being socially? Hold back a little bit, reserved sometimes?
Sometimes.
Okay. I try to be social, so I didn't want to say women on that one. I think, especially for your career, you kind of got to mingle a little bit more. Who is the messy one? Who spends the most money? And what's that on?
It's just like food.
Food?
He's big into he has so many, it's so funny. It will be one of our little arguments. Well, not real arguments, but
right.
He has so many supplements. I'm like, do you take these? He's like, yeah, I take them all. I'm like, do you really? We have 8 different elderberries, just tons of supplements. But it's cool and fun to kind of experiment with them. But still.
Man, I think, if anything, that'll be the last thing that someone can get upset at for spending money? It's on supplements, you know, you're trying to get healthier, be different, a bunch of fishing gear, and you barely go out fishing, you know, shit like that. So that's understandable. Now,
and I'm always like, can we order DoorDash or let's go out tonight? And she's like, well, we have food at home. Like,
he literally gets a package almost every other day in front of our apartment doors.
as in orders or as in a sponsor?
Both. I'd say both. It's a mixture of both.
Joey, are you an undercover fat ass or no?
I mean,
I just saw a picture of you from your pool workout. You looking slim, bro.
I know. No, I'm definitely always like fat kid at heart. I was really when
Mexican bloodline. Are you still super addicted to the Mexican food?
Oh yeah, man. Hell yeah.
And did he bring you onto that, or do you like Mexican food as well? You like it all?
I love Mexican food, but I will say that when I went over to California, he took me through the first Mexican drive-thru, and I was like, Mexicans have drive-thrus? And he was like, yeah, I know. That's what I was like.
That's Cali shit right there. That's Cali shit.
And he said the same thing, and oh my God, it was amazing. Their food is like way better over there than it is over here. I would say for sure.
So keeping it Mexican and on the menu, who's got worse gas? Easy.
Although he did try to Dutch oven me, and it was
Joey,
funny.
how dare you? Joey, I called that shit out on multiple podcasts. I said, like, I don't know how couples do that shit. Like, that's like, I don't even want my homeboys farting all up in front of me. Man. Yo, walk away, dude. Like, why I gotta hear that? I'll definitely smell it.
Well, I definitely, that let me know personally how much I really liked it. Because I kept that shit in hiding for a long time.
That's hilarious.
Kind of impressive.
And then when he
I asked, to be fair, did I ask? I was like, I'm just wondering, what would you be offended? Would you get mad if I Dutch ovened you? And she's like, oh my God. No, I'd probably just laugh. And then like, sure enough, like an hour or two later, I was like,
boom.
Yeah, but then I hit him back, and he was like, oh, double Dutch oven.
That was a rough night of sleep, bro. Holy shit.
So we laughed. Like, it was super funny. So we did it. Like,
what's something that you guys like to do outside of this violent beauty that we all care about so much? I mean, obviously, I know you guys watch some fights, you attend some events, but is there certain things that you guys, that whether you're experiencing it together for the first time, like let's say fishing, diving, museums, I don't know, what's something that you guys do to kind of detach from the fight world?
We didn't.
Or you could just live in the fight world. I mean, I don't know, shit.
No, we don't. Actually, that's why people probably just assume that, we're badass and we just fight all the time. But man, we really me and Joey really have an awesome personal life in the fact that we go to the beach, we're snorkeling. Okay, we got nice. Badass snorkeling kids. Yeah. So shout out to Michael Phelps for his little weird snorkeling thing.
By the way, talking about you guys, in the future, you might move somewhere else. That's something that you won't find anywhere else. Our waters.
Yeah.
Not even in Cali.
Oh, yeah.
With the snorkeling. Yeah, we do. We love it so much. And we're actually really good at, we first, not first started, but we just started we're on it for 2 weeks, but we kind of had a hint of it before, but we read together. And when I say read, it's not like he reads his book, I read. We actually read out loud to each other. And that's something.
Damn, that's something I've never heard. That's a very rare thing, but I love it. Okay.
Yeah. And I would think, we always joke about starting up a podcast or at least a foodie blog, but one of my favorite things to do is we go to different restaurants and we just fucking critique the shit out of them. These fucking people suck.
So why not do it, dude? Podcast can be difficult, getting people on. You see all the equipment needed. Editing's a fucking mess. But when you do a vlog, man, now you can do it on your own. You have fun with it. Put that camera there. Joey and the wife, and here we are. We're gonna critique and just restaurant hop. That sounds good, dude.
I know. When we do, I really think we talk about it every time because we go and we are super on it. We watch Chop together too at night, and we'll be
be a big fan of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we go out to eat, we'll be like, well, if only this. It's we pretend again, kind of like that how we first met. We pretend mock comedy. Mm-hmm. Now we're pretend mock food critics.
Speaking of doing things in the future, let's talk about something realistic. Excuse me. This fight game takes a toll on us all, and the longevity is shortened, some earlier than others. It all depends. But Joey, you're slowly knocking on that door. I don't know what you plan, if you've already planned, or if you're just determined to put in at least another hard, whatever, 3, 4, 5 years of fighting, and you don't care to think about anything else yet. But if you do, and you as well, Britt, what is some after plans that you guys might be contemplating? Is there already something in the works, or is there something that you guys, now that you're together, hey, what do you think about doing this? Because this fight game isn't going to last forever. Britt, you got plenty more, and I know that you're whooping ass and still looking great, so I think you got plenty more too. But we just got to be realistic. Got to be responsible.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I think ultimately, like, and that kind of goes intertwined with, like, with us kind of thinking about, not thinking about, but definitely in the process of moving from Miami and relocating back to Virginia, because Britton actually owns a house in Virginia.
Immediately,
which is mind-boggling.
Yeah, immediately you save money. You got a house.
20-year-old had her shit together, but she did back then. She was crazy, and so that being said, we wouldn't be bleeding out, thousands of dollars every month,
right?
And just normal bills here that we are in Miami and over there, and then so we think about we've actually talked about this a lot lately. Is kind of have like a training center, yes, but also like in conjunction, for lack of better terms, kind of like a halfway house, but that would help like people, either A, like straight from prison, or B, that are dealing with like substance abuse issues. So it can be kind of like a
part of the facility will be geared towards some form of training and things of that.
So because you're gonna put in work physically, because we're gonna train your ass, but then also you got to hit your multiple AA or NA type meetings, stuff like that, because I'm a big believer in that, because that helped me. And then also too, like, then you have structure, and you have, coaches there that actually are involved and enthralled in the program. So we definitely have like some good ideas as far as like getting that going.
And in reference to the city that your house is in Virginia, you had mentioned way earlier that it was a small town. Do they have facilities like that over there, or not really, not yet? Maybe a boxing gym or something like that, but that's it.
Yeah, and that's no, they don't, and that's why, like, for me,
business opportunities there.
Yeah, that's what I had the house, and I bought it when I was 20. Well, I mean, I still make payments on it, but still, it's halfway paid for. But I got the house when I was 22, so I was really young. So like a lot of people don't have that, and I did. Like I said, I was doing really good. I went to college. I actually got my master's degree. Had a really good job. Blah blah blah. And then when all the shit happened bad to me in 2016, I was like, I have to make a hard decision. And right now, with me being in this small town where everyone just attacks you, and, they kind of like, they're one of those towns that kick you when you're down. And like, so people, not just me. So if you're, a drug addict or an alcoholic, if you slip, you get divorced, everyone talks shit about you. You have no place to belong there. Like, you're the black sheep, like you're, and exiled out, basically. But it sucks because you have nowhere to go. So then you just walk around getting in trouble. No one wants to help you. And you just, makes it worse. You get more on drugs, more alcoholic, more jail time. So that's kind of like what the pattern is in that town. So everyone was like, you need to get away, because this is what is holding you down right now. But I knew, like, in my heart, I was like, but I don't want to, quit and run, because this is where my house is, and there's a lot of people here that I do love and care about, friends and family, etc. And so I was like, you know what, I don't know what the best thing is, but I'll just move and live out of my house and rent it out while I'm figuring out where I belong and so forth. But I always thought about and talked about with Joey, like, that's how I felt in that town, that I had no place to be, no place to belong, and I had to travel all the way to Danville, which is like an hour-and-a-half drive, to get any boxing training. So thinking about it now, if I felt that way there, think of how, and look what I've done with my life. Like, I'm truly feel like I'm a diamond in the rough.
I think you guys got a great opportunity there, bro.
Yeah, who else is in that town that needs it? How many kids, like where I live, and Joey's, we've go back anytime. There's kids there. It's all walking distance. How many people would benefit from it that otherwise it's kind of one of those towns that, like, the white male is the one who succeeds. If you're a person of color, female, they're like still kind of stuck in that way. You don't have as many opportunities, and damn sure social class. Like, if you have X amount of dollars, you are on this side of the town with this type of activities. And if you have money, you're on this side of the town with this certain activity, and you don't meet in the middle. So to me, having that house where we have people come in, fighters, but even community-wise, like now you have a place to belong. Now you have structure. And in this house, you can't bring drugs. You can't bring alcohol. So they're not going back to, think of how many people.
The bad habits that,
Yeah, who want to be good, but then they go home and it's like.
It's all around them.
It's all around them. So how much easier is to get mad and be like, fuck it, give me this beer.
Right.
But in this place, all that shit's going to be gone and you belong and we want you there. And even if maybe you're not a fighter, maybe you just need fucking place that's going to listen to you and give you something productive to do.
This sounds like you could either or make it a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. With, of course, giving yourself salaries. People don't think nonprofit is, you got to give yourself a salary if you guys are going to run it and all that. But you can open it on your own, because, again, you guys got plenty of years left in fighting, making money, saving and all that. And you can definitely get some partnership or sponsorship, to do such a good thing, because that's, that sounds like something that anybody be willing to help out in. So I really love the idea. I really do. And Joey, you had mentioned that you had once you were pretty bad on the bottle, right?
Yeah.
And was it AA meetings and stuff like that got you off of that, or was it a combined total of going in and out, back and forth for many years until you finally got it together?
Oh no. I remember when I first went to an NA meeting, I think I was like 24. And I remember I went to a couple, and I was like, wow, man, I'm not as crazy as these people. I'm fine. These people need these meetings. I'll be all right if I tone it down. And then, fast forward a few more years later, and then I ended up back in going to meetings and stuff when I was like 28 or so. And then went for a little bit, and I was like, okay, I got it under control. And always like that, convince myself that I have it under control. And then I would spiral back and get back into my shit. And then finally, back in 2017, I went to rehab, checked into rehab, and stayed there for about 4 months at this place called the Fellowship Center in Escondido, California. And it's just yeah, man, those people there saved my life. They helped me save my own life, and that's how that. And that's actually where.
So you definitely have a great rooted connection to that in regards to witnessing yourself how much that can help, and then here you guys are, brainstorming something.
Want to give it forward?
Give it forward, and to not that extent of an actual halfway house, but just within your realms of fight world and everything else, and. Man, I think that's a great recipe, man.
And not only that, but also too, from my experience, man, you gotta understand, I was fucking ripping it hard, fucking coke and booze and everything else I could get my hands on while fighting at the highest levels.
And if you don't mind me asking, why so? Were you just a little party, a little wild? Was it because you're a pro fighter and it kind of got to your head, you're having fun?
Just because, ultimately because I was an alcoholic.
Okay.
An undiagnosed alcoholic, Okay. It was I'm not the kind of alcoholic where I would drink or I have to wake up and have a bottle of Jack waiting for me.
Right.
I was the kind of alcoholic where I would have one beer would lead to 2 beers to lead to all right, let's get on the phone, let's find the connection, let's go. We got to hit that next level, hit that next level. And I was always thirsting for something, always trying to fill an empty void, just classic shit like that.
Right,
just always trying to fill an empty void, and just with the next substance or the most substance. Or if I did this, this kind of feels different. But I know if I did this level of drugs, I would feel way better. I would feel better. I would finally feel normal if I did this. And it's it was just a fucking crazy merry-go-round. I call it for all those years. And when I initially started fighting, or when I first started fighting, I was really, really good for the first 3 years. While I was in the game, because I was so one track mind. I'm gonna make it to UFC. I'm gonna make it to the UFC. And I got into the UFC 4 days shy of 3 years. I got in. I was all right. And then once I was there, it was it's almost like one of those examples of shooting, shoot too low. If my goal was just to make it to the UFC, and then once I got to the UFC, I was all right,
I reached it. What's left?
What do I do now?
Right.
And then once I was there, and then that's when then it was cool to party in Vegas. And then we're in Vegas, everybody's got a bag on them, everybody's got a fucking some pills on them and shit. And that's just what we do in Vegas. And whereas people would stop on the drive home, I was on the phone no, man, let's keep this fucking party going. And so it's you know, that's how that would go. And I would stop for like 6 weeks. I would stop for like 8 weeks from my training camp, and then it became 6 weeks. And then it became, okay, we're not doing anything for a month. We're going to be strict for a month. And then the month became like 2 weeks. And then like towards the end, man, like I was getting fucked up like the week of the fight.
Damn.
Yeah. And so, you know, by the grace of God, you know, I was able to you know, save myself with the help of some good brothers that really, really took me under their wing and showed me the way. So now, all that intertwining what I was saying is like, my original idea was like, I already even had the name for it, like the fighting light, like and have like the logo be like a lighthouse, which is crazy. Anyways,
don't let somebody steal that from you, bro.
No,
Make sure.
Because I was like, I know there's so many of people like that in the fighting industry that have so much like deep-rooted underpain. Like nobody, I'll always remember my manager told me, my first manager that I had, who we were on a plane to go to my first fight, and he's like, you know, anytime somebody walks in the gym and wants to join the team, first of all, we want to make sure he's good enough and he can hang, and then after that, we have to ask ourselves as the coaches, okay, what's this guy's problem, and can we manage it amongst our other guys' problems? Because ultimately, anybody that wants to fight in a cage and make that his life has something fucking wrong with him.
Right.
And I remember when he first said that, I was like, fuck. I don't have that much. I don't know what he's talking about, man. But it's very true, man. Like so many of my friends, like my dear friends, you know, that like were my teammates for years. Like, you know, I found like there's like some people that just like drink beers, and there's a lot of fighters that didn't do anything that I grew up around with, and there's some fighters that just drink, and then like this fighters got really sick with it on the weekends. It's like those are the guys I always managed to find. Like, oh, these are my people.
Gravitate towards them.
These are my people. You know,
you didn't hang out with John Jones, did you?
No, maybe once or two. Maybe one or two nights. But yeah. So it's like, yeah, man. There's a lot of people that could benefit from something like that.
And Brent, you've obviously, you know, you've had your ups and downs, and like you said, you felt like the black sheep of that town, and you also had that bad incident with the ex or whatever that was, and all that. So you also know that these locations, you know, they do help. They do help, especially in small cities and all that. And man, I honestly think that's a great idea, especially because you guys are paying way too fucking much to be here in Miami. I love Miami. Everybody who listens to the podcast knows it. I mean, I pay too much for this goddamn crib right here, bro. Like $1,900 a month. Like I could be living large somewhere else, you know, paying that a month. So I like the idea, and I think the fact that you guys are encouraging it in each other is beginning phases. Just start brainstorming the fuck out of it. Make it legit blueprint. How big of a facility would we need? You know, what's the going price over there? And all? I mean, you still haven't gone back. By the way, so what is roughly the target date? Like, you guys are gonna finish your lease first here, or?
We're in the process right now. I'm talking with our original friend, Eddie the realtor. No. That's his thing. He actually fucking fought. Crazy quick little story about this guy. So Eddie Concepcion, he fought on my BKFC. He scored the second fastest knockout in BKFC history. He knocked the guy out in like 6 seconds, 8 seconds, or something like that. And Yuli has the first one.
Right,
3
3.
seconds. So Eddie was like literally like 2 seconds after he knocked the guy out. And Eddie was...
That's our realtor.
Yeah, he's a realtor.
We were introduced to him first. I was like, by the owner of the gym. He's like, okay, this guy can help you get an apartment. Boom, boom, boom. And then like a week later, he starts talking to me. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna fight. And I'm like,
okay,
all right, okay. And then he showed up to training the next day, and we were like watching him shadow box. And I was like, I even told him, like, I don't know about letting this poor guy fight. And, but then he got better, man. He put in that work, and he really came out and shined, man. He showed out.
And that's crazy because he's a realtor. I'm sure he can make really good money when times are good, but he chooses to fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's good. He's a good guy. Like at first,
super cool,
super nice personality wise. I mean, he would take the shirt off his back for you. Like he was really had a cake made after everyone. After he won, he had a cake made for the whole Box Art Studios. Just super nice and great guy to be around all the time.
You know what it is? I know that people think that, you know, because we love this violent sport, you know, how could you get in there? And you just mentioned a few minutes ago, there's always some type of voice, something weird, something crazy about somebody who has it in them to get in and do this. And I do agree. Everybody's measured differently, but a lot of them have some type of common ground of rough upbringing, witnessing, the wrong things, being dealt with, whatever. There's multiple reasons. But on the flip side, what people don't really realize is hitting a bag, doing these MMA things that we do, the workout, stuff like that, just how alleviating it is.
Oh, yeah.
Just how, what it does you is crazy. Like I just had a session with one of my clients. She's 55. It's her third time boxing with me. And I knew that I can't keep getting too technical because I'm a very technical coach. I know she needs to burn some steam. I know she needs to feel like she got a good workout. So let me not try to, make it so technical. I said, hey, we're going to do 15 minutes of technique, and then we're going to go ape shit on this bag, but you need to keep it technical as possible, and then blah, 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 blah. Anyhow, the whole thing was over, and she sent me a text 2 days later. I can't tell you just how good that felt to do that. Little did I know, it meant so much more to her because she had whatever going on in her head, and she was upset at this. So to those of you listening, yeah, granted, we might be a different breed than we are. Try it out. It's very, very relieving, alleviating. It does things to you.
Yeah.
Man.
I know people early on would always ask me like, oh, have you ever used the stuff that you learned like in a street fight? Have you ever fucked somebody up at a bar? I'm like, man, like if you're really about this life and really, really training hard, like I don't know about you, but like I'm always too tired to even get anywhere near a conflict. Like,
yeah,
I'm just like, just leave me alone.
I'll
walk away. Like, nah.
I tell people it might be the tired for you. I tell people that we're just way more disciplined. Where it's like it goes through our head. There's a 95% chance I knock this fucker out, and he lands the wrong way
and dies,
or I'm just gonna catch a charge because I'm the pro fighter. This, that, and it's just, and then we tend to look at them like, I will fuck your whole world up, and you're not even worth this. And then I think most of us have enough discipline to walk away. Now, granted, I did a little special on my vlog of Joe Schilling when he knocked Buddy out at the bar. That was deserving. Fuck that. That was deserving. I know he kind of planned it, but the guy deserved it. And Joe just said, I think Joe in his mind said, if this guy does anything wrong to me, I'm going to plant one on him because he's been annoying everybody for the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And we did see the proof that the guy did flinch at him. The minute you flinch, I'm sorry, you're game. You're free game. That you can't flinch at somebody. You just can't. And if that happens, I have every right to put it on you. What's going on, you beautiful people? Just wanted to cut in real quick to give you guys a big shout out. And when I say you guys, I mean every one of y'all hearing my voice right now. I truly appreciate all the love and support that you guys have given me, the podcast, my teammates involved, and everybody else. Thank you so much. This is season 3, and I swear to God, this is just the beginning, man. We got so much more coming. So thank you once again. I love training clients, okay? I love teaching them. That's more than anything. I love teaching them. When you see somebody finally know how to turn on their cross or their hook or things of that nature, when you see their footwork growing and you see it and I'm like, damn, they feel like a real fighter. I love that feeling. I live and die for MMA, and I love to help people personal training wise, right? But I am more hooked on entrepreneurship than anything. And I don't want to wear and tear my fucking body forever. I am in constant pain from my forearm just past my elbow, both of them, from holding mitts all the fucking time, racking weights all the time, and then doing my own workouts all the time. So constant pain all the time. I just never bitch about it or try not to. I want to grow out of training people. I'm always going to love it. Maybe one day do it on a high-end tip. Like, I can only got a few people, only got a few hours, and they're paying top dollar. But I want to grow out of that because for my sake, to hit the level of success that I would like, it would have to be me growing out of those private sessions that I'm doing. It'd have to be something bigger. And that's why I started journeying into everything else to eventually get there. That's what pays the bills. And that's why I have to continue having clientele, continue busting my ass, balancing it with podcasts and everything else. And I'm working on gear. But in due time is to grow out of that. You have to have that plan B, and you got to do it the right way, and you got to take things in consideration. A facility like that makes total sense, helping people out, and there's plenty of money. Private sessions in anything is expensive. And when you're helping, you said it's cerebral palsy people, Parkinson's people, troubled use, you're not going to get money from them, but you're helping them. You just get this gratification. You're giving back. But then here comes the people behind that. Well, I saw you doing for that. What can I do something private with you? I'm not a runaway, but I'd like to, and it just goes like that. And there's just a lot to be there, man. I think you guys are gonna kill it with that. And I'm gonna bug the hell out of you. Hey, get out of here. Hey, you guys still in town? Why the fuck? Get out of here. Where is what's the realtor's name? The fighter?
Eddie.
Eddie, get them the fuck out of here, man. So, but anyhow, I want people to follow you guys. I want people to know a little bit more about you guys. I know that my podcast is all over the place with different guests, and some people gravitate towards fighters, some don't, some want a scientist, some want a veteran. But I think you guys got an amazing story, and you got so much more to come. And I want people to try to follow you on your journey, as I definitely will. What is your handles? I know I almost remember it perfectly, but I don't want to kill it. Britt, what's your handle?
Yeah, so on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, it's still Team Britt and Hart, where my Facebook is Britt and Beltran, so you'll see me over there. And we're still kind of playing with it, like I said, with boxing, and even with like my 5.0 thing. I really feel like sometimes when you have a boxing name, it really kind of chooses you. So kind of thinking going forward, I still have to brainstorm on how if I want it to be, still with the 5.0, but keep it Beltran, or I don't know. We're still playing around with that. But anyways, so I haven't changed it on my Instagram and Twitter or TikTok yet until we come up with a really good son name. That you
should do a flirt with a poll. Ask your fans to do a poll, but try to give them an option, because if not, they're gonna fucking throw every stupid ass name in. Give them hey guys, what do you think out of these top 3 or 4, and see what they say. You never know, to help you out with that.
Definitely, I agree.
And Joey, yours is just a name, but there was
on Instagram, Joey Beltran _MMA. And then on Facebook, Joey Beltran, and Twitter, Mexicutioner 760.
So for people who don't know, by the way, and I forgot to say that earlier, so that's been Joey's fight name forever. Well, since I started following you.
Third fight, yeah.
So he's Joey the Mexicutioner Beltran, and that was one of the dopest fucking fight names, the Mexicutioner. Come on, man, that's dope. I always remember when this guy Buffer was yelling your name out, the Executioner. So what do you guys have lined up? You said you got some verbal commitment of a fight coming up. It should be in
November 6th, I believe, in New York.
Okay.
Title defense with Arnold Adams.
Third title defense should be Arnold Adams.
Yeah.
And this is for those of you guys who might have just forgot or whatever, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, BKFC. They can go to bkfc.com, right, and watch it there. And
Bare Knuckle, it's BKTV.
Oh, you're right. It is
BK.com.
Yeah.
I know.
You guys can find it. It's not going to be the most difficult
Google
thing.
it.
So that's coming up in early November. So we're looking forward to that. And then Britt, we're still trying to hear something from you. You should be, like we talked about, the majority of the MMA world thinks that you're #1 contender. Should be the next for the fight, for the title match. Somebody might beat you to it, so you're in a little limbo. Oh, I forgot we got the little one that you haven't even showed. I just heard him. Her?
Yeah, her.
So we're trying to hear something. Do we think we're gonna hear something soon, or?
I know everybody wants to see the rematch against me and Beck Rawlings, and Beck's announced that she's coming back, whatever. So I'm really excited for that rematch, just like how Joey is with Arnold Adams. That was my first one. On BKFC too, and I really want that back, so I'm eager for that fight. So that's why I'm kind of in limbo too, because it's well, do I wait for that fight? Who knows? Because COVID is so crazy right now. Australia's on lockdown. Really, I find it very, very hard to believe that she's gonna come to the U.S. to fight. Mm-hmm. So it's damn, I don't want to put all my chicken,
Eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
put all your eggs in.
I don't want to put all my eggs
That's why
in
you
one
guys are
basket.
together. Did you guys see the chemistry there? Did you see? He was ready. He was ready, man. Yeah, so it's okay. So you're waiting for that.
Then it's I really want that fight, but what if I fight and then she comes back in a couple weeks and they give the fight to someone else? So it's kind of the fight game is just so crazy when it comes to political moves. But I think I'm ready, obviously. I have no injuries. I'm healthy. I'm happy. But that kind of goes into it. Hey, we talk about fucking fighting hurts, man. Training for the fight, going into it. I'm not in a huge rush to get back to it because it's I'm enjoying my life. I love Joey to death. We got our new little puppy, Margot. I have my family back home. I have a lot of things that keep me busy. I just genuinely love fighting. So for me, it's not anything to prove. I really want the rematch against Beck. Anyone who wants to run their mouth, I definitely want to punch them in their face for free. So I don't care. I'm ready to fight. You know, I am kind of like looking and watching like Taylor. I know that she's coming undefeated, and I know people are saying that they want that fight a lot. So to me, it's kind of like, I feel like just rising in that itch of wanting to get back and fight, and kind of just being like, well, fuck it, I don't care. Like, who's ready and who do I need to take out? So if they're going to say Beck is the best, Christine is the best, you know, now they have Taylor coming up and she's going to be undefeated. To me, I feel like taking out the undefeated people, going like Beck, Taylor are like number one for me. And then, you know, like Christine's been pissing me off too. So, you know, if they want to put her in front of me too, I'll gladly take that fight as well. So it's kind of just waiting for who thinks that they can get in the ring with me.
I think if you're kind of enjoying this honeymoon stuff going on, you know, with Joey, understandably so, and that's great, and I believe everybody's happy, you know, to see the couple that you guys are, and then we all want to continue, you know, applauding you and thinking and that it's going to continue in that direction. But meantime, enjoy that a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't be lazy. Train, work out, do everything you're supposed to, especially, you know, he's got a fight coming up. You want to borderline stay ready, not ready, because I know you guys don't get called in for it, and then you shouldn't because you're already up there where you should not be called for a last minute.
Oh, no. Don't make, like, yeah, don't, for sure. Me and Joey have a system going down. Like, and this was even in our off time. But, like, for fun, like, you talk about holding mitts. Like, it's an art. It takes practice to hold mitts correctly. Oh, yeah. So he'll hold for me 5 rounds, and I hold for him for 5 rounds, and we spar 5 rounds. At least, like, that same ritual at least 4 times a week. Awesome. So we've been doing that. So it's getting, you know, I feel like, again, it's like fun for us, but we can be like, hey, if we get called in for a fight in 2 weeks, we would be ready. So we have that nailed.
If you feel that and you're doing that, then great, you know, then great, and just enjoy your time, because otherwise I would definitely tell you to poke at some bears, you know, stir some shit up. Unfortunately, that gets you fights, but you are in a weird position. You just said it all correctly, and you know, if you're not following BKFC and know those rankings and who you were talking about, Beck, Rawlings, and these people, then they're not gonna understand. So yeah, you're kind of in a weird just wait. So don't get frustrated. Stay borderline ready. Enjoy this, you know, this honeymoon, and just keep kicking ass. And eventually, if no one says anything enough, you're going to get riled up. You're going to get itchy as fuck. You're going to be like, fuck that. I need to call a bitch out, you know?
Right. Well, I think they did say Wednesday, so tomorrow, that they would have a better understanding if that Beck fight is going to be something that's actually reasonable. And if not, you know, you're right. Maybe I will poke the bear a little bit and call some
What's up with Rachel? She went up in weight, or she doesn't want any smoke, or what?
They said she doesn't want any smoke till January. So I guess maybe I don't know if she's in the same boat. She's enjoying it. She looks like, you know, I like Rachel. She looks like she has a boyfriend she's really in love with. She has a family, a very strong family system. She has a business that she's entrepreneuring in. So who knows what it is, but, you know, whatever. She said, you know, she doesn't want to fight until January. So that's kind of off the table, which, I mean, I wouldn't mind that at all either. But then it gets to people are like, oh, well, you know, they don't have as much experience as you. And I'm like, we're talking about 5 fights. Right. And overall, we're not, like, new to combat sports. But, you know, I was like that, too. Like, when my pro debut was against Beck Rawlings. So get the fuck out of here.
And she already had a big MMA background.
Yeah, so whatever. But I'm ready, you know, for, like I said, again, my resume, I don't even need to say it, because I feel like if anyone wants to go on to BoxRec and look up my name, Britton Hart, my resume speaks for itself. I fight anybody. It doesn't matter what their record is. And I fought out of my weight class. I fought some of the top world-renowned people. So again, me running or being cherry-picked is definitely not the case.
Well, that speaks volumes, and you yourself have never bucked a call out, but awesome that you're in the position where they got to come for you now. You know, you're the one with the target on your back because you are the champ and defending champ. So, guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys stopping by the show, by the podcast. Again, been a fan of yours, Joey. Going to continue being a fan. You got me to be a fan already months ago before you started dating this guy. And now I get to have you guys on the podcast, and you're a married couple. You guys are wild, bro. You guys are wild. But I really do believe in it. I sense the energy. It's fucking cute. It's not something that you see very often. And I think it's dope that you guys share so much common ground on the fight world, the struggles, the this or that. And I think it's nothing but up. And so, again, appreciate it, man. You guys blessed the podcast by being here. Guys, Don't forget, show some love. Follow these people. Team Britain, Hart. Team Joey Beltran. Forget about the handle. I don't know what it is. I already said it earlier. It's easy to find them. Just spell their names out. Stay tuned, guys. Thank you for supporting the podcast, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.